Hello again. Today is day 4 of working on an untitled project, so let's hop right in. Before I start, I just want to say I'm going to try out something new where I'm going to try focusing on a key set of topics and then I'll get into the rambly stuff afterwards, because I can tend to ramble for very long periods of time without end, and that can be interesting to some people, but I can understand it being disinteresting to most people. So if you're just here for the updates of the game, I'll focus on delivering those quickly and from here on out, and then getting into the rambles. So let's hop right in. So I swapped all projectiles to use physical projectile and continuous collision detection as opposed to just using trigger overlaps. So shooting is now more accurate. You see that the enemy's dying in the correct order this time. I also added in 3 new weapons. There's a gravity wall, which sucks in nearby enemies. There is a beam weapon, which is good for burning down groups of enemies at once. And there's a shotgun, which is fairly self-explanatory. I also changed enemy prototype to use physics, so you can see that these will slide a lot more than they were before. And they will also stop glitching through walls, which will be very nice. There's a new enemy type. It's an enemy with a shell that fractures apart as you shoot it, and if the core gets blown apart, then all the remaining parts of the shell all break open, and they all emit their projectiles. I added a menu to select which weapons you want to pick. So now that there are 7, this was sort of needed. And that works when you go into a game. I also added in score. You can see your points in the top left-hand corner. And I added in dying, so I can score some points here. That enemy does not have points yet. Whoops. So you can score some points, and then you can die, and your point total will display at the end. So that's all the major additions to the project since yesterday. And so if you're just here for the quick stuff, feel free to just click off the video now. If you would like to hear me ramble about some stuff, and if you would find that interesting, feel free to stick around. So, some notes about some stuff. I need to change the enemy prototype to not use transform.lookat, because you can see that rotates instantly towards you, and that just doesn't feel good. It feels better when enemies have to put an effort to look at you. Well, at least that's my opinion on it. So that's something I want to sort out going forward. I may not keep this enemy type for very much longer, so I may not fix it here, but that is something that I've been thinking about. It would just be nice, I ran into an interesting bug that I want to reproduce. I'm not exactly sure why it happens. Let me just I just need to quickly change a few things around to reproduce it. Exclude ground. And then I need to go over to game. Sorry, not game. Enemy prototype. And I need to comment that out and comment in the firing logic. So for some reason, I swapped this over to using fixed update for the state machine, and that's all well and dandy, and everything looks fine, but when the enemies fire in this state during the fixed update, these shots go all over the place, and I'm not exactly sure why that is. It's very easy to reproduce. I should get pretty much immediately. Let's see here. Yeah, you can just see they all go into the ground, and if I pause here, the shots are all just going all over the place. And it's really weird because you can see the shot here is just leaving at a crooked angle, but the enemy is upright. So for some reason during the fixed update, the enemy is tilted at an angle, and I'm not exactly sure why that is. It is perplexing, to say the least. I would figure that transform.lookat would fix that. It seems to fix the rotation at the end, and transform.lookat is used before the firing happens. So I'm not sure what's going on. So that's an odd one. Let me just undo these changes. And set back to normal. And there we go. So that was an interesting one. Some discussion about the weapons. The gravity ball is feeling pretty good right now. I put a bit of work into tuning it, so that it doesn't shoot too far out or too fast, and it will collect enemies that are coming at you. And they all get clustered up really effectively. This used to work a bit better before health, but now I'm scared to directly approach the enemies because I'll just get melted. Which is good. That is how it should be, in my opinion. Clustering them is an advantage, but it should also have its drawbacks of, now you have a cluster of enemies that are all shooting at you. Potentially, at least. The beam doesn't work quite right. You can see, I'm not sure if it shows up on the recording, but it's flickering pretty badly. And when it's out of ammo, it will then just flicker on and off incessantly, because it will continue to attempt to fire, even though it's at almost no ammo. There needs to be proper support from beam type weapons in the weapon system. Right now it's sort of hacked together. It's good enough for a prototype, and you get the gist of it, but it's far from perfect. Beams also go through the spike shells, as do the grenades. I'm not sure if that should just be an advantage of grenades and explosive type weapons, or if the grenades need to raycast. Maybe some explosive weapons raycast to their target to see if they actually hit or not, or if there's anything obstructing the view, and others don't. In general, they should probably raycast. But if I go back to the main menu and alright, it defaults to those things. Go back and select the grenade spray. You can see that the center immediately blows up on most of these, really easily. So that's something to consider. That takes a bit more work, but it's not too difficult. For the shotgun, I don't like the shotgun right now. It just doesn't feel right. I don't feel like it's in a good place. It's... I don't know, I need to figure out how to tune it correctly. Maybe the spray angle is too large, maybe there aren't enough projectiles. I'm not sure. Maybe it's... because it's a lot of damage. If you're right up close to an enemy, you just delete them. But if you're even a little bit away, maybe that is a spray angle then. I'll need to think on that. And that doesn't feel good right now. It also needs to be a bit more distinct from the grenade spray weapon. Right now where there's sort of two shotguns effectively, and that's part of why I wanted the spray to be bigger. That's why I defaulted it to being a bigger spray. But that has the drawback of it then sort of being useless, potentially, or at least not feeling good, not feeling great. Another interesting note that was sort of observable there. I'm experimenting with the shotgun projectiles having mass. You can see that the projectiles will actually impact and blow around enemies. This is something I feel like I should experiment with more, because it's an interesting way of tuning weapons, having more or less impact like that, like actual physical impact. It's something to explore going forwards. So I really like the idea. I think there's a lot of potential there. It's just a matter of, will it, because the same thing with the gravity wall, like controlling the enemy's movement, affecting the enemy's movement just feels good. It feels good to affect things in the world. So having your weapons have a solid impact, it also makes weapons feel more powerful. So if you have the railgun, like having the railgun just, right now it's a one-shot kill on everything, so it's hard to test the impact, but having it like just absolutely blast an enemy into orbit would be a lot of fun potentially. It could also be rather frustrating though, because you hit the enemy and then it's really hard to hit the enemy again with a follow-up shot, even though there's a long delay between shots. So everything in moderation, Did I already talk about the weapon UI? Forgive me, I may have already talked about this. I'm not going in order on my notes, and I need to make sure that I do that going forwards. But in case I haven't already said it, I don't really like how the weapon UI is structured right now. It's sufficient, but it sucks. Like, it just doesn't... It looks bad. It just looks bad. It doesn't look right. It's just very cluttered, I think. But I'm not sure how to make it less cluttered. Maybe I just need to completely rethink how I'm doing the UI. Maybe I need like an inventory, and like you drag and drop which weapons you want into the slots. And maybe that's going to be a lot better, because then you don't have all these buttons. Like, there's how many buttons? 7 times 4 is 28 buttons on here. Like, it's too many buttons and too much text. Way too much. Or you click a thing and then you click which slot you want it to go into. It would help if I got icons first for that. Right now with only text, it's hard to test that out, because without icons, an icon is a nice shorthand. Yeah, that's most of it. The last thing, I had a funny realization just today. Thankfully I had it today instead of, even later. So I was thinking, like, the UI here, like, the editing sucks, because doing this in the scene, like, you have to do this, and it's like, it's bad, right? So I was using the game view for this, but you can't, like, directly modify stuff in the game view by clicking and dragging. You have to do all this stuff here, and, do all that. So that sucks as well. And it turns out there's a 2D mode, and I just completely forgot about it since I last used Unity. I am sometimes very dense, because this probably should have been obvious to me, that there was a 2D mode that you could use to edit stuff in here. Whoops. Anyways, I think that's about everything. So, thank you for listening to me ramble. If you have any comments, questions, ideas, or anything else on your mind, feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.